are the best hair transplants in 2023 that I could find. Everything about them is world class. Everything from the hairline, the density, the angles, it's hair transplant heaven. And incredibly, all these hair transplants have three things in common. Three things that if you can copy in your hair transplants in 2024 or beyond, you are going to end up with results that are even better than the ones I'm about to show you. My name is Jabril. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and start by looking at the hair transplants. And then after that, I'm going to tell you the three things they have in common that you should be copying.
This first case is an amazing result, but I see a huge problem in this first case, and I'll tell you at the end. So let's have a look at the pictures first. So you can see from the pictures that he's got frontal recession is the main issue. Quite prominent corners here. The donor area doesn't look too good either, but I think that may be because he had a haircut before taking this picture. Clearly a young guy. Let's have a look from the other angle. Pretty much the same. You can see the prominent corners. And if we look at the top, you can see what we suspected is confirmed. He has recession on either corner here, and behind the hairline, there's a lot more going on. You can see this kind of very thin patch here, which I suspect is going to spread out. So if he does nothing, I would say in 5 years' time, this patch will cover the whole of the top of the head and maybe even spread forward. Okay, which is a problem for such a young guy. But the results, I mean, look at that. I mean, the result looks sensational. And what I like about it is they haven't completely straightened out the corners. They left a slight angle there to make it look more natural, and that makes all the difference. Lovely, lovely result. Let's have a look from the side, and if you look from the side, you can see what I just said. They haven't tried to bring out this corner to be completely straight. That would have been a waste of grafts, in my opinion, and it would have made the hair transplant look too obvious. So very, very good job. Amazing job, in fact. And from the front, something else I like about it, you see how thick the hairline is. It's very thick. But if you look closely, it's not pluggy. A lot of times when hair transplant clinics make the hairline thick, it just looks pluggy. You can actually see the plugs, which is not very nice. But in this clinic, they've done an excellent job keeping it looking natural. Now, remember I said I see a huge problem with this case. Young guy. Let's go back to the first picture, and I'll show you what the problem I see is. I wonder what he's done about this. Has he just Has he just chosen to put grafts in and not do anything else? If he's done that, he's in big, big trouble in the future, because unless he takes medications to slow down hair loss, this is going to spread regardless of if he has a hair transplant or not. On to our second case, and this one is even more severe in terms of hair loss. This is the frontal view. You can see there's recession here, but because of the angle, you can't really quite see how bad it is, and trust me, it's quite bad. Now let's have a look at the top view, and this will show you how extensive the problem is. As you can see, there's I don't think there's actually any hair at the front. I think the hair you see on top might be some hair that's been pulled forward from other areas. So and at the back, at the crown, you see there's even more extensive hair loss. So this is quite a severe case. I would say at least a node 4, maybe pushing 5. So a severe case. And this is another helpful angle, which shows you that there's actually, he's got some hair at the front. I misspoke earlier. There's definitely some hair at the front, but he's got recession, severe recession in the corners, and this hair here is gonna go fairly soon. So not an easy case. Now let's have a look. I think this is after the transplant. So I think he had to choose, as many people with hair loss have to choose, whether you prioritize the crown or the front. And obviously he's chosen the front. So a lot more hair at the front. I suppose he's taking medications to prevent further loss from the crown, but the front is looking very, very good. As you can see, this is very thick, and it's actually amazingly thick compared to what we've seen earlier, the extent of the hair loss. So a remarkable job again with this clinic. They've resisted the temptation to kind of give him a straight hairline. So this hairline has got this nice angle, which makes it look natural. Nobody will be able to tell that this is a hair transplant. Let's have a look from the front, and this is the view most people, when they first meet you, this is the view they get, which is why I always say, if I had to choose between prioritizing the crown or the front, I always choose the front. So the front is looking sensational. I don't think this is as well done as the last case, because I don't know, the hairline looks a little bit pluggy in just in this area here. So not 100% as natural as the last case, but still, from where he was, this is a smashing job. Let's move on to the third case, and this case demonstrates the phrase that a hair transplant can change your life, because I think this guy, the hair transplant, has changed his life. Because in this picture, he's got severe frontal recession, and he looks about. I've seen the actual picture. He looks about 35. But wait till you see the after picture. Let's zoom in on that very quickly. I mean, even with his eyes covered, you can tell this guy is at least 10 years younger. The hairline is a little bit too straight for my liking, but he's a young guy. He can get away with it for now. But what an amazing job. The design of the hair transplant is fairly straight because, again, he's a young guy. The thickness is awesome. Some people like that. Personally, I would have liked it to have seen it a little bit less dense. Makes it look more natural, and he looks 10, 15 years younger. Fantastic. The next case I think is going to be the most controversial, and I'll give you my opinion on it. I see a huge problem with it, and I'll tell you at the end. So this guy is, I would say, is a Norwood 5, Norwood 6, kind of severe baldness, all the way from the front, all the way to the top of the head. But what's going for him? It seems it's got a lovely, dense, long, healthy donor area. So his chances would have been very good. But by the way, I have a lot of information about how many grafts and all that he had. I'll share that in a minute. But I'm not the biggest fan of his final results. I'm just not, because I mean, it looks thick, but it just looks a little bit like a wig to me. I think the angles and the density is just the clinic have not done a good job in terms of designing the hairline. They just did the procedure, but there's been no design. And if you look from the top, he says he's going for another procedure this year. I'm not sure whether that is to fix something at the back of the head, as in the top of the head that we can't see in this. But this looks amazingly thick. And if you look again, it looks even thicker from the top. It's quite amazing. What I can't find unbelievable is that this is only 10 months post. So it's only 10 months after the hair transplant, which is really amazing. Now, he says he only had, which again I find unbelievable, he only had 4,126 grafts, which seems so low. Again, I haven't verified these hair transplants myself, so I'm just giving you as I got them, which seems incredible. Guys, I'm already voting the most elegant result so far. If you guys disagree, just put it in the comments below and tell me which procedure you think is the most elegant. So this guy has got loads of frontal thinning, but again, he's got lovely dense, it looks like he's got dense donor area. Again, it looks like a very young guy, so he'll have to be very careful. But I absolutely love the final result. It just looks so natural. I mean, it's gone from this to this. Wow. I mean, this is fantastic. It looks so natural. The front looks, it doesn't look pluggy. It looks thick enough without looking pluggy. He's got the corners. It looks completely natural. not even the biggest expert in hair transplants on the planet is going to detect that this guy has had a hair transplant. And look at it from the front. Look at it from this angle, kind of frontal right. Absolutely fabulous, fabulous job in terms of the design. Look at the hairline. Look at the thickness. Again, he looks so much younger, but he'll have to be careful because I want to know if there's more thinning going on at the crown, which he will have to take preventative medication for. But so far, this is my favorite. Let's move on to the next case. And this one again, I think this one and the last one are my two favorites because I love this afro case. The gentleman had extensive thinning all the way at the front, all the stretching all the way back to the crown. It looks like he's got a solid toner hair. It's got a beard as well if required later, even though the beard is going grey a little bit on the edges. And this is the final result. We'll just have a look at the final result in more detail. But I can see there's a little area there that is a little bit too thin. So let's have a look at the final result in more detail. Bam! Look at that. Look at that. What a fabulous job. I mean, he's got some thinning, at the top. I can tell that he's only had most of the grafts in the hairline, but the hairline makes all the difference. I've always said that's the area you should fix first if you have a hair transplant as a man. Obviously, we'll have to do something about the top, but wow. And the beard has been styled, looks fabulous. And from the front as well, yeah, this looks amazing. It looks a little bit like it's been micropigmented. So obviously, I think it looks better when it's grown out a little bit, like in this picture. But this also looks fantastic. Fair to say that whoever did the hairline understands what kind of hairlines do kind of Afro customers usually want. This is absolutely bang on. Fabulous result.
Now, let's talk about the three things that all these procedures have in common. And the first one is they've all been to Turkey. All these procedures are done in Turkey. I know Turkey gets a lot of bad rep from the media and other people, but it still churns out world-class results. The second thing they have in common is that I think they've had a relatively low graft numbers for the stage of boldness that the clients were in, meaning that they're looking very good even though they had slightly less than expected grafts done. And that is the sign of a client that has done his research very, very well, and a clinic or a surgeon that is really a master craftsman. The thing they all have in common is that they've been using some sort of hair loss medication before and after the procedure, and this is why their results held up so well. And of course, I run a consultation service for people who are planning to have hair transplants. It's not free. The prices I'll leave somewhere in the description below. I can even contact the clinics for you. Trust me, they treat you differently once they know that you are with me.